Hello and welcome to the NHL Best Bets. Yesterday was full of good games, a bit surprising results here and there, and not so surprisingly, but our picks were not correct this time. What we did yesterday, Carolina visited Dallas. Dallas was leading the game 3-2. But then in last push was better by Carolina, even though Dallas outshot them 37 versus 32 shots, and then Carolina won with the 5-3 result. And then a bit surprising game between Columbus and Chicago, both teams famous for their defense. But that wasn't home yesterday because the end result was 6-5. Columbus won the game, and both goalies, Joonas Korpisalo in Columbus and Kevin Lankinen in Chicago, were not extremely good, even though Lankinen faced 43 shots, but those kind of game savers that these guys have been saving in last games, we really didn't see. How do you comment these picks, Tommy?
I blame the goaltenders. No, the goaltenders didn't have the best night in Chicago for sure. Even if Lankinen, like you said, faced 43 shots, a couple of easy goals. The game was quite even from the beginning until around the second period when Chicago went ahead. Seemed very good, seemed very confident in winning the game, but then the end of the period was bad. So Jack Roslovic gave Columbus a lifeline, and then it was all Columbus in the third one. So close one, but I don't think anyone expected this many goals. I'm sure both coaches of both teams are pretty unhappy with this sort of game they played, especially in the end. There was 6 goals scored in the third period, so something that probably will not happen again this season between these two teams or either of these teams. But a kind of an off night for us in this case. But again, both teams very low scoring usually, so this was a sort of a fluke, I would say, on our part again. And then the same thing in Dallas. Dallas was not that good. They did lead the game in 2 periods. After 2 periods, the equalizer came really late in the second period in here as well. So 30 seconds before the game. So you have to finish your periods. You have to finish your games. We've been losing a lot of bets in the third period. So a little bit something maybe this season is now becoming is that in the third period the game changes a lot. We've seen a lot of comebacks. We've seen a lot of these complete meltdowns as well. So maybe something with the pace of the game, the pace of the schedule. I don't know. Interesting to see these trends if they keep on continuing. That maybe then we can turn into live betting and take the losing team in the third one to make up some of these losses we've been acquiring. But otherwise, Dallas, Carolina, really good game. Both teams played all right. James Reimer was in the goal for Carolina, but not much of a difference to our simulations in Nedeljkovic there. So no excuses there. It was a bad pick and bad game in that regard from Dallas Stars.
How about other games what were played yesterday? There were a few surprises, like Anaheim beat Vegas 1-0 in Las Vegas, and also not maybe so big surprise, at least based on our numbers, that another home team couldn't score when Edmonton won Montreal 3-0. I think both goalies played reasonably well there out of their second string position or status, but what do you think? Is Montreal now starting the slide that we already predicted before the season?
Yeah, that was an interesting game. Mike Smith, of course, got a shutout, which hasn't happened in some time. Not entirely sure how long, but it's been a long time. And yeah, Montreal doesn't look very good now offensively. I think they've gone back to a little bit more defensive stance in their game after bad results against Ottawa. And now, of course, when you face teams like Edmonton, if you invite the pressure, you are bound to lose. But of course, it was Mike Smith and the Edmonton defense actually that did play extremely well. Were able to box out the Montreal offense, so not much going on in the scoring chances either. So great game from Edmonton on the road, and happily something that we've been predicting for some time to see Montreal not do that well. But it was a great night otherwise for the simulations. Of course, we were the ones who managed to pick the games that did not go our way, but the simulation engine was profitable once again, as it seems to happen quite often now.
Yeah, here you can see the results of last night based on the simulations, and there were some changes in odds before the games after our yesterday video, but overall inside value 7 correct, 3 wrong, 303 profit. Money line even higher, 8 to 2, 497 profit, because there was some games that went the other way around. So in this Dallas game, we had a value on Dallas, but they were underdogs at home, so Carolina was the predicted winner there, and that is the difference here in these two different values. Then total, there not all games had something to bet, but what we had 5 correct, 3 wrong, and plus 141 profit. So machine seems to work pretty well. How do you explain that we are not?
I think we're trying too hard. We're trying to find the picks that we like, and not believing in these weird selections by the system. Like let's be honest, Florida against Tampa Bay. We did mention that in the video yesterday. We had the simulations had Florida as favorites, and we didn't quite believe it, but they were overwhelmingly better than Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay had, like we've been saying this as well, Tampa Bay in the regular season, they have noticed that they might not need to put their full effort, so to speak, in these games. So a little bit of this maybe from Tampa Bay, but an excellent result and performance by Alexander Barkov and the Florida team. So something to look out for. Florida is playing quite well now. They've gotten their offense going, and now just to see how their defense will hold up. Looked good against Tampa Bay, so something to definitely keep an eye out. And of course, then we had these heavy favorites like Vegas winning the game, but your Los Angeles Kings from 2014 took the... Oh, it was Anaheim, actually, wasn't it? Sorry. Yeah, it was Los Angeles Kings who beat San Jose heavily in their home ice. But yeah, Vegas lost to Anaheim, which was something that the machine did not actually get right. So not 100%, but a really good result from the machine. And also Kings had the value against Sharks after some changes in the odds, and also a goaltending change from the Kings. It seems that Cal Peterson in the goal is actually now being playing a little bit, well, maybe not better, maybe a little bit more consistent than Jonathan Quick has been, so easier to lean on from the Kings. So good game from Los Angeles, and they showed that even if San Jose might have been a bit of a favorite there, I think Kings might be the Kings of California this season.
Yeah, I think these, let's say, maybe old farts, but a bit older and more experienced players, Kopitar, Brown, Carter, they show that they are not ready for the retirement yet, even though their salary cap take is a bit higher than you usually expect of those caliber players. But if you can score and you can defend, you maybe earn at least part of your salary. But in King's case, the young and coming the best prospect pool that many experts have thought during this season and also during the last season has not really earned the reputation on the ice in NHL level. Maybe they are coming, but they are not yet there.
Yeah, still learning from these veterans, and it's a good show that the older generation can still produce and get the results when the younger ones are not able to yet. So I think it's a growing process, takes some time, but there are some interesting prospects there also in the AHL level. So a couple of years it might take to reach the peak, but Kings are definitely in a rebuilding phase. So no need to win yet, but soon.
How about tonight? We have only 2 games tonight, so maybe we can quickly go through our picks because now we cannot miss these games. There's only 2 of them. So if machine is correct, we are correct as well. Arizona St. Louis play first game of this kind of three-game series continues tomorrow and I think also on Sunday. And there we have value on home team. They are by the bookmakers bit under the 120 plus are the odds, but Arizona has played pretty well during the last games. They have been on the road and they have been beating St. Louis already 3 times in a row, and now this is, like I said, first game in Arizona of this series, and they should be, at least based on recent performance, favorites, but oddsmaker I think otherwise. Naturally St. Louis has underperformed during these games, but let's see if something changes after 4 games between these teams. Like I said, St. Louis won first, and then Arizona has won 3 rest in St. Louis. And then our favorite from the East, New York Rangers host second game against Boston in Madison Square Garden. Boston is a strong team, and the last pick that we had 2 nights ago, it was one of these great overtime losses that we've had this season, more than enough. Even game, but stronger Boston team showed when it counted that they are better. Now Rangers odds are quite lucrative, plus 165, and even though simulations show that Boston is favorite, there is so much value with these odds that we pick Rangers to win this game.
Yeah, not much of a choice, but I do like these picks. Like we did take Rangers last time against Boston. They performed really well. They've been looking quite good, even if they lost to New York Islanders previously, and then Boston lost to Boston in the overtime. The goaltending has been more solid than before. Their defense has been much more consistent. Their defense is keeping the opponent out of the scoring zones quite well. Boston didn't get a lot of chances last time around, and probably this Rangers team is the kind of team that will learn as they go. It's a young team, a couple of star players, but should get a little bit more out of this team. And against Boston, second time in a row, with this value plus 165, it's a no-brainer to go for the underdog at home in Madison Square Garden. Even if Boston is, like you said, really strong team, and they can turn any game into their favor, but at some point they will slip up as well. They've been winning quite a lot of games in a row on their road trip now. And then going to Arizona in this already a playoff series, St. Louis and Arizona played already 4 games in St. Louis. Now they play at least 3 games in Arizona. Probably the 4th one will be pushed back as well. It was supposed to be somewhere in the mid-April, but probably gonna just run all 8 games in a row in these times, because you have to play some games because you can't play any others. So these teams are getting familiar with each other. Arizona has had St. Louis's number so far. They've been able to counter exactly the sort of things that St. Louis Blues is trying to do. So it's a great matchup for Arizona, now returning home. Extremely good chance for continuing their winning streak, and with really good odds considering that Arizona has won 3 of the last ones, albeit the last one in the overtime, but still good value for about the same level of team that has had the better overall performance in the past 4 games.
Yeah, it's very interesting to see this kind of back-to-back games between same teams, and how they can improve, first of all, the game plan, that how well they can match. Like you said, Arizona has been successful there, and now I think it's St. Louis time to trying to do some changes, because clearly the way how these teams have been playing, Arizona is the one that has pulled a longer straw in these games, and like I said, there's not too many changes since the last game, so it can be the momentum that is currently behind the Arizona, and it doesn't stop here.
Yeah, Arizona was quite heavily outshot in these affairs in St. Louis, but it didn't really matter because of the shots that St. Louis took were usually outside of the scoring zone, and also the way that the Arizona is turning the game after St. Louis is losing the puck. It's really something to watch. That it's the way that they play, and it's when it's successful, it's really beautiful sort of thing that Arizona's young players especially are turning the game so fast that the St. Louis, maybe a little bit heavier team, maybe a little bit of a diesel kind of roster there, they're not able to match this speed and this sort of change in pace that Arizona is able to do. So even if Arizona is outshot, in many cases, it doesn't matter, because the scoring chances are still much higher quality for the Arizona team, or has been in these past 4 games. Let's see how it goes now after we are through this halfway of the playoff series.
These are both good games tonight, and hopefully home teams will get some boost. Arizona will have some spectators, New York no, so even though not allowed cheering, but maybe the familiar ring will help both teams.
Yeah, I think it might be that in Arizona there is about the same amount of spectators as in normal regular season, so not much of a change there.
Yeah, I think they are used to it the same way as Florida has used to the few thousands, and they have been playing reasonably well at home.
Yeah, familiar circumstances.
Exactly. We'll catch up again tomorrow.
Yep.